Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Live. What's going on? How is everyone doing? Hope your week is awesome so far, even though it's only Monday. Um, we got a lot to do. So I have that airbrush holder that I want to put some gold leaf on it. I got some things to tell you about that. The cameras are too close, but whatever. A little bit of show and tell. I have 3 new paintings to show you and one little bonus. So we have a lot to go over. Let me grab my notes before I start because I want to say thank you to the awesome super thanks givers last week, which was your friend and mine, Mr. Down and Dirty Tricks, Scott McKay, Ian Hart, Honey, Cheese Grits and NyQuil, and Bug. Thank you all. You guys are amazing. Can't do without you guys. So thank you very much. What else we got? Do I have those here? Yeah, I do. All right, yeah, let's get to it. I'll show you the new ones, and then we'll do some show and tell, and we'll get rocking. I wanted to see who's here too. Ria's on. Yay! I need to talk to her. Also, when Ian jumps on, I need to talk to him. I've been a bad boy with Ian. Ian won, and I have not sent out his painting yet. International shipping is always fun, and yeah, I've been bad, so I got to get his out. I'll do that this week, but I'll talk to him when he shows up. All right, let's switch over to this one so I don't have to look around the camera anymore. Yeah, we'll look at the new ones, and then we'll do a little bit of show and tell, and then we'll get rocking. So what do we got today? What do we have today? Let me see if I can do that too, since I'm thinking of it. Me, and well, I'll do it over here. What else we got? There we go. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. I'm gonna be able to see you guys. No, I don't want to be a member of my own channel. That doesn't work that way. But if you guys want to be a member, you can be a member. That's cool. I appreciate that. There we go. Honey, Brian Moore, Kyle Shees. I saw that kind of video, the compilation video of like your amazing journey. Holy crap, from the edge of death to being the super Kyle that you are. That was incredible. So super happy that you are Superman, because holy crap. Rhea, yay. Let's talk about Rhea first. So Rhea is my other little thing that I gotta work out. So Rhea had something happen that has never happened to me before. In all the shipping that I've done, I have never had the Postal Service lose a painting until now. So Rhea won a few weeks ago, and she chose the hummingbird. We sent it out. It said it got delivered, but it did not. So next week, you guys and I are gonna paint Rhea a new painting. So I picked a new hummingbird. And we're going to do this one next week. We'll do this one live. So not only will she get her hummingbird, but you know, you get to watch it happen live. So that's what we're going to do next week. So that was what I was waiting for that. So that's good. Mark, what's going on? Hi, Auntie Paula. What's up? Rick Lotta, hello. Yay. Okay. What else am I missing? Wayne, what's good? There's Sean. Dan Mayer, hello. Todd, what's going on? What else do I got? There's Ian Hart. Here's Grumpy, my UK people. You guys are amazing. So Ian, I don't know if you heard, but I mentioned it. I've been super bad with your painting. I still have it here. So I know you're waiting for it, but I don't want you to think it got lost. It did not. I've just been a toad and haven't gotten it out yet. But it will get out, and I could shoot you a tracking number for that, since it does usually take a little bit longer to get international packages out. Not as long as Rhea's, but you know, we'll figure that out too. All right, so let's get to it. Yeah, I've got a lot to do. Actually, we don't got a lot to do. Gold leafing is fun. We'll get to that. Let me get my shite in order here. And for the people who are wondering what we're going to be doing tonight. So here is the airbrush holder from Spraygunner. I've already started to gold leaf it just to see how that was going to look, and I love it. The idea is to have all these rocks down the bottom be nuggets of gold. So you have this skull with this octopus kind of guarding his treasure, and that's what we got. Will this work better? I don't know where that camera is. Not really. I was going to check this camera too, but that works kind of. It's too dark because I had it set up for open studio. But anyway, you can get a good feel for the gold now. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to show you how I get the gold leaf on that. That is a 23 karat gold leaf. So I figured to go all out for this. And we've pretty much worked it out. Honey, you are amazing. Thank you. You're incredible. Give that a big fat heart. Thank you, honey. I've already worked it out with Spraygunner. I talked to Artem last week, and we have a plan. So what we're going to do is it's going to be a contest. Not really a contest. It's going to be a giveaway that we're going to do. It's with Spraygunner, and we're working out the details now, but we will be giving this away. So it'll be fun. And I will give you guys all the details on my page, and I'm sure they're going to have the details on theirs as well. But you'll be able to win this guy. So I'm going extra hard on this. Once I found out that, what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, I'm going to go over to the top. There's a lot more I want to do with this. I want to kind of increase the details across the board, like on the little suckers. And, I'm going to clear it, but clear it with gloss and matte and satin. So, for instance, the suckers, they're going to be matte, where the tentacles themselves are going to be kind of like what you see. They'll be this glossy, shiny, gooey. The gold won't have any clear on it. It'll just be the fantastic 23 karat. The skull will be matte like he is. So it's going to be really, really fun when it's done. And I'm going to put way too much time into it. So there you go. So that's what we're doing tonight. All right, let's get to these. First up, my head's in the way. So we'll go to this one. First one up, your friend and mine, Mr. Bug. Haven't seen him jump on. Oh, nice, Ian. I know, usually right till the end. Oh, and while I'm getting keyed up, I know I should be showing these things, but I got to do all the stuff. Don Johnson this week, who ran Airbrush the magazine, and did a ton of interviews with all kinds of different airbrush artists, just reposted his interview with Kiwi Terry, and I missed that guy. So I happened to be at the store, and Rheingeist has a Kiwi New Zealand style India Pale Ale, and I saw it and I thought it was a sign. So yeah, so that's what we're doing tonight for tonight's cheers. Can you only spray the clears, or can you paint it on with a brush? Honey, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be brushing that on, not spraying it where I can. But yeah, so the general idea is you spray the entire thing. I can't do that now because I'm going to put the gold on it. But had I finished this, I could have sprayed the entire thing with gloss, and then I could have, and then just go over the bits that need to be matte with a paintbrush, like the the suckers, or the skull is already matte, so that's going to be in good shape. But that's how you do it. You do it all in one clear, so it protects the whole thing, and then you modify the sheen. So that's how that works. So yes, you can use brush with it, especially on this, because it's like, it doesn't have to be like a car finish. In fact, it's better if it is kind of rough. So when you address the new hardware, the trip of $1 million should include UPS store. Yeah, I did that. I don't know what the problem was with that. So I'm going to double check that with you before I actually send it out, Ria. And then we'll figure it out. We'll make sure. Actually, what I'll do is I'll talk to you. We'll figure it out. We'll make sure. We'll get, maybe they can sign for it or something too. So, Chris Garcia, cheers to you. What's up, buddy? Michael McClung, hello. All right, I think I've got everyone. Yeah, we'll figure it out, Rhea. It will definitely get to you. All right, Bug. Last week asked for a clove of garlic. I did a clove of garlic. Marge asked me when I was done with them. She asked me what the 3 were, and I told her. She goes, "Who's gonna buy that?" My job is not to understand what people want. My job is to only do. So here is your clove of garlic. Let me make sure this is focused. I love doing these real subtle, these subtle, very close, tight value range paintings. It just, they make me happy. This one's called Vampire Free. So garlic itself has long been associated with warding off all kinds of evil and sickness. And that's been going on for centuries. So an example of that is shepherds in the Balkans used to use garlic to protect their flocks from wolves. That being said, lamb chops with garlic sounds really good, so I don't know how that would work, but that's what they did. The connection to warding off vampires was really popularized, of course, by Bram Stoker in 1897 with his book Dracula. But that is my clove of garlic. And being half Italian, this makes me all the way happy, this little painting. So this is my clove of garlic. Bobby, what's up, buddy? All right, so I'm going to put this up here again. This is called Vampire Free. So again, if you win tonight, there are only 4 people on the list. And I know what you're asking yourself, Steve, but that's not yourself. So self, how do I get on the list too? Well, you can do what Honey just did with 543 Pearl in a Shell. You can type 543 and give me a suggestion for one of these paintings, no matter how weird they may seem. And then as soon as you enter your suggestion, you're all set. You're ready to go. That's all you got to do. You're in for next week. We randomly draw a name and you're good to go. All right, next up. This one I gave a little sneak preview on one of my stories. I'm trying to get better about putting stories and reels up, just because that's what the socials are pushing right now. So I put a little bit of a preview up of this one, and this was suggested by Ron Basil. I spent way too much time on this. Originally, I thought I was only going to do 2 543s after getting through this one, but I ended up doing 3. So here it is. So Ron asked for a Civil War cannon being fired. Ever since watching the Ken Burns special, the Civil War series, I've been totally like just doing deep dives into the Civil War. So this is my image from Antietam. And I call this one Antietam. So Antietam is also called the Battle of Sharpsburg. It took place on September 17th in 1862. The battle was primarily between General Grant and George McClellan, and it remains one of the bloodiest battles on American soil in history, with nearly 23,000 soldiers either dead, wounded, or missing. And despite the crushing losses on both sides, McClellan was able to turn back Grant's invasion, and yet due to the heavy losses, McClellan was also fired by President Lincoln. So this is my 3 soldiers firing a Civil War cannon. So that's that. That's how that worked out. And again, that one's just called Antietam. Yeah, I spent way too much time on this, but it was worth it. There was just no other way to do this one and give it justice. Plus, I like the subject. So, all right, finally, if you're a member here on YouTube, you already know what this is because you've seen the time-lapse video. If you're not, you will see the time-lapse tomorrow. And your friend and mine, Mr. Down and Dirty Trick Scott McKay, last week jumped in and just gave his Steve comment. So Scott's been doing that to me for a long time, and it's been funny. So what he's referring to is this. Now, if you have children, or even if you don't have children like animated cartoons, this is, of course, from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. The movie came out in 2009 and featured the voice acting of Bill Hader, Anna Faris, and James Caan. So, of course, our hero Flint invents the Flint Lockwood diatonic super mutating dynamic food replicator, which transforms water into food. His monkey Steve has this affinity for mustaches, and that's what goes on in the movie. So this is my painting. All right. So this one's just called Steve. So in case you see Scott do that, that's what that's all about. So there you go. So that's all 3. But wait, there's more. I was going through and taking inventory and looking at some of the old 543s that I had. And I had this one that I'm pretty sure that someone won way back in 2022, but it was never claimed. So it wasn't in the system or anything. So this one I'm going to put up as well. So if you win tonight and you want the, I think we did most of this live. This one's called Fraser because I used Craig Fraser's skull template to do this one. So this one's going up. If you want this one, I'm going to put this on the website after if no one chooses it, but this one will also be available. So that's the 4th bonus one. So there you go. That's all 4. Speaking of old 543s, this is my show and tell for tonight. Put this stuff away. Oh, by the way, today's list, we are down to 4 people right now. London Penn, Brian Moore, Bill Snagan, and Todd Grisby. So those are your 4 for tonight. Someone's going to win. You have a 25% chance, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you want to get in on that, let's do it. So when I first started doing these 543s, if you've been around for a long time, like since the beginning of this, which was 2020, I think the end of 2022, 21-ish, when you used to get the 543s, they'd just be the 543s and they'd be in this little folder that I made. But after a while, the thing kind of took off, and I wanted to give people a chance to be able to just drop them in a frame instead of having to deal with cutting a mat. So I started, putting them in the mats. But I found a bunch of them that were in these original folders. These are really old ones, so I thought it would be fun to kind of go through these. There's only a few of them, so but it'll be kind of a walk down memory lane. I'm going to move the camera a little bit closer here so I can zoom in on these. But these are all on the site. If you're interested in any of them, you can feel free to jump on. Just I'm going to give you the names of them. If you see one you like, some of these are the oldest 543s I have too, so they are definitely memory lane stuff. I don't remember who suggested them. A couple of them I do, but this first one was a Hayabusa. This was done back on March of 22. Which is fun. So what I did was I matted all these. I took them out of all the folders and I put them in mats. So these are ready to go. But this one is on, this is 22. So this is on Yupo paper. The next one, I can't believe this one didn't go. You guys, this is my spirit animal. It's called Spirit Animal. And this was March 14th also of 22. So this is my turkey vulture. I love these things. They're gross. Their nose goes all the way through their head. It's awesome. The next one, I don't remember who suggested this one. This is I thought of this because Tim's doing his Game of Thrones painting. So this is Bran Stark, which looks like that one. This one's on Canson paper. So this is before I was using Yupo. So that one. Just fun. I don't know who suggested this one either. This is the Gargoyle. So this one's called Watcher. This one's also on paper. And what's neat about it is you can't really tell which ones are on paper and which ones are on Yupo until you pull them apart. I spent way too much time on this one too. So it's my little gargoyle above Paris. If you look real close, you can see I was going to say Statue of Liberty. Even though Statue of Liberty came from them, the Eiffel Tower. This was great because this one was suggested just a couple of weeks ago. So here is You've Been Bad. This is December 20th. By the way, I'm going back in time if you haven't figured it out. December 20th of 21. So these are the very, very first original ones. And this one's my Krampus painting. So this one is also on Yupo paper. He's a fun looking dude. So that one's You've Been Bad. You've Been Bad. This one was definitely a suggestion because I don't even know where this one came from. This is Paris Dakar Racer. So it's this cool little racer bike. Oh, this isn't in focus. Here we go. That's better. BMW Paris Dakar. This one I can't believe. This I think is Scott Anderson. Scott Anderson. This one's called Dinner. So Scott I think was joking around and asked for orange chicken from Panda Express. So that's orange chicken. This is also on Yupo paper. Again, who's going to buy this? Well, someone who goes to the same Chinese food place all the time and loves them and wants to give them an extra special gift. That's who would buy it. Or someone who loves orange chicken like I do. So that's Dinner. And then this is the oldest one in inventory right now. And it just so happened to have been, on paper as well. This is my painting of Maureen, and this is a super old one. This goes all the way back to August 23rd of 21. So this is the oldie one, and that's of course on Yupo paper as well. So there you go. If you saw one, again, this is called Maureen. Hopefully you jotted down the name. If you wanted to pick one of these up and didn't jot down the name, let me know in the comments, and I will tell you what the name is. All you got to do is search for the name, and it'll pull it right up. So if you go on and type in Watcher on the website, I wasn't going to feature all these because it puts them all on the front page and makes it a mess. But you can search for them pretty easy. And if, like I said, if you see one, and even if it's after the feed and you can't remember which one it was, just send me a message and I'll let you know the name of it or send you a link to it or something like that. All right. Final thing. Squeaky chair days. I know those were squeaky chair days. What I miss? Upgrades for 25. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do for 25, Chris. Oh, wait. So, yeah, I know. If there's, honey, if we run out of names, that'd be amazing. I don't know what I'm going to do. That's awesome. Who'd I miss? Wayne, I said hello, right? Sean, what's up, buddy? I'm trying to get everyone who's jumped on. So, hello, everyone. Abby, what's up? Dog Snout, what a great, that's a good one. I love it. So Abby's now in. Hi, Abby. All right, so cheers to new people. All right. Oh yes, this is super important. All right, I should have done this first, but so be it. So I'm working on the Tokyo painting. You guys have probably seen me post this a billion times. It's come along. It's almost, I'm more than halfway done with this now. Even though it looks like it's only halfway done, I only really have to paint buildings up to here, and then the rest is like clouds, which will go really, really quick. So I'm almost done with this painting. We're on episode 62 now, 61, because it's so involved. It got me thinking about these open studio ones, and what's really weird is out of all the paintings that I have, I still have all the open studio paintings, which is really weird because you would think not only does someone, when they pick up the painting, get the painting, but they also get the entire history of that painting. They see me paint the entire thing from beginning to end. So I want to make sure people get these paintings. So I picked two, and I'm going to put them on super sale. The first one was the last open studio I did. This is the Mustang Shelby painting. So that's what this one looks like, which is hopefully in focus. This one is fully framed. It's got a solid hardwood frame, museum glass, solid the actual carbon fiber in the background. And like I said, you have every single moment of me putting this thing together and painting it and doing the whole thing. So what I've done on the website, I put it on the front page, and this painting is now half off. I want it to go to someone, you know, and get into someone's collection. And you know, it would mean a lot to me. So that's this guy here. That's called Shelby. The other one that's been here that I want to see go to a good home is one of the earlier. This is from 2022. And this is a Chevelle painting, and this is also framed. This is a maple frame. It's open. There's no glass on this. But yeah, it's still fully framed with a felt background and everything. And this one is also half off. So it's 50% off for these two. Yes, I know there is one other open studio painting that is in inventory, but I'm not putting this up for half off. If you want this, you gotta prove you want it more than I do. So this is Generations, which was the Harley painting. This one is not half off, but would be worth it if you picked it up. So that one's still what it is. All right, now let's get to it. I've wasted enough time. Oh, there is no coupon for that. Just go to the website and buy it. Really, really easy. All right, let's do this. So we're gonna gold leaf this guy. All right, Steve has it set up to. Wait, what? What did I miss, Michael? Hold on, I can't read it. Oh, I can because I can get around the camera this time. Yeah, Rhea, it has been quite a journey with the Tokyo painting. That's crazy because Generations, that last painting I showed you, the Harley painting, that was only like 63 episodes. So about 30 hours in that. The Tokyo painting's going to beat that by about 10 hours. Steve has set up to, if you want, the beginning of the year. Next year it'll be at the end. Yeah, exactly. That's right. I know, honey, but that's okay because we're covering ground. All right. So there isn't going to be any paint in this episode anyway, honey, because it's just gold leaf. So there. I've already done this section here. I'm going to get you guys, oh, that's already closer. What do you know? But I want you guys closer. Closerer. Is that a word? I don't know. Yeah, we want you here. Yar, that's what we want. All right, so I've already got gold leaf on here, so I'm going to show you how I do this. Normally you do this at the very end of the painting process. I still haven't done the respirator and all that stuff, but I still wanted to show you guys. And this area here, enough of this is already painted around it. The same thing on the other side. Like this area here, I can put the gold in, but I can put the gold in up here too, because all that's painted. So yeah, maybe we'll work in the back of this thing. So I'm going to need my little cool holder stand. All right. Awesome. So put this in here. This way I can rotate this around. Yeah, that's better. All right. Is that better? Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, let's see. I want to do this section here because it's oh, you can't see. Cheetahs. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good. I'm going to lighten this up a little bit too. That's better. Now you can see what's going on. Yeah, now you can really see what's going on. Yeah, let's see this section. It's just going to be easier to see, and I'm just going to have to be careful with it. All right, so the things you're going to need for gold leafing. This. What else? This. All right. So you're going to need a real soft brush. Watercolor brushes work really well for this. This is just a cheap, this might be a real sable, but just a real soft brush, you know. Even an old makeup brush will work really well. It just has to be really, really soft, nothing aggressive. You need something to apply the glue with, so I'm going to use one of my fancy Winsor Newton brushes just because I have a bunch of them, and they're, you know, they're already, some of them are kind of mangled, so I'm going to use that. The thing you need some sort, they call this sizing, gold sizing. Basically what this is this is what allows the gold to stick to what you want to put it on. There are two kinds that you can get. This white one is water-based, and this kind of amber colored one is solvent-based. Each have their own kind of advantages and disadvantages. The solvent-based stuff is amazing if you want to do any kind of masking. So say I wanted to, like if I wanted just like, you know, like one area, like in a logo to be gold. It's easier to use this stuff. If you use this and you pull the tape up, it'll pull the glue up really ragged on the edges. This will stay down when you put it. Obviously this is solvent based, so you need solvent cleaners to get it up. This dries a lot slower, which is an advantage or a disadvantage. It depends on how you want to work. So this one cleans up with alcohol and water, or soap and water, so this is really easy. So you got to really kind of figure out what you want to get out of it. If you're just messing around, the water-based stuff is the easiest to deal with. You know, get you good at it, and then you know you can kind of mess around with the different sizes and everything. But that's what it's called. It's called sizing. I don't know why they just don't call it glue, but it is. It's just glue. So we're going to use a water-based one because again, it's easier to deal with for what we're doing. And then of course you need gold. Hang on one second. I forgot one thing. It's right here, so I'm not going very far. There we go. There are all kinds of gold that you can get. So you can go to your local craft store. This one's from Hobby Lobby. This is called Gilded, and this is our imitation gold leaf. So this will work really well especially if you're practicing, because this is only about $10 for 25 sheets. So this is real fun. You can use that stuff. Comes in all different colors too. You can get copper, rose gold, all kinds of different stuff. And then there's the heavy duty stuff. This is this one's from Voltara, and this is 23 karat gold leaf. And an actual genuine gold leaf comes in these, they call these little things booklets for obvious reasons. And they have little pieces of tissue paper between them, and the gold is on the sheets in between, like there. Looks like that. Now, one thing about this, I'll show you the difference between what, imitation gold and actual gold is obvious. So this is actually gold. It's 23 karat gold leaf, and they pound it down into this little super thin sheet. So you can see the difference between real and imitation. Now, there is obviously a price difference between the two. Actual gold leaf is really, really expensive, and that's fine. If you're going to use it for something special, then you can buy just a book of this stuff. You'll get this, which is kind of nice. Again, a book can be pretty expensive. If you do want to get into gold leaf, it helps to do a little bit of homework on it. There are different kinds. This is patent gold leaf, Patent, and there's the other kind, which is loose gold leaf. So patent gold leaf, the sheets, the gold is actually stuck to the tissue with static. I think it's static. But this is what they use when they're doing signs and windows and stuff like that. This piece got wet, so it's kind of ruined. But normally it's still stuck. This is very stuck, but normally it's just stuck on there. So this way, if you're working outside and you're doing a window or something, the gold won't blow off. Loose leaf is just what it sounds like. You get this piece of tissue. If I do this with it, the gold will come right off and you'll be a sad panda because it'll be on the floor. You can't pick this up. It's super thin. When this falls on anything, it's like going to attach itself. So you got to be super careful with it. The patent leaf, again, this sheet is ruined, so it's not going anywhere anyway. But yeah, so those are the type. And then even for genuine gold, there are different kinds. There's 23, there's 18 karat, there's variegated, there's all kinds of stuff. So I'd say start with an inexpensive imitation gold just to mess around with it, and go to town. One other quick note though, as we're going along, there are paints now that do an excellent job of mimicking gold leaf. So the gold plated from Createx, this Molotov silver. If you just want kind of a gold metallic look and you're not like super, sold on having it be actual gold, these are a very easy alternative. You just spray them on, mask off and spray them on, and they look really good. So for ease of use, these guys are something to think about too. But for this guy, we're doing real gold. So did I miss anything? You guys can ask questions. I'll try to answer them if I see them. I saw hello, James. So hello, James. Steve doesn't even use an ounce of paint in a couple of them. Yeah, that's true. Mr. Patrick, again, if you're not following Cheese Grits and NyQuil, go follow Patrick on his YouTube channel, especially if you're into cool stuff like lock picking. His station has become my new watch all the time station. I have it on in the back channel. All right, let's do it. So basically it's super easy. I have a surface. I want to put gold on it. I got to put glue on it first, then I put the gold, and then I let it dry. So that's how it works. There's a little bit of a technique to it, so you want to kind of be careful of a few things. Again, I don't want to get anywhere I put the gold is where the gold is going to stick. So I want to kind of be careful with it. I know the next question you're going to ask is, can you spray this stuff? You can. However, the solvent-based stuff is tricky to spray, again, because it's dangerous. And the water-based stuff is like glue. So I haven't had any luck spraying this stuff. I know I have. I've sprayed this stuff. It does work, but again, if you're spraying it to make it even, if you have any masking, it'll just pull it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little cup as a palette, and I'm just going to put a little bit on here, and you'll see it looks like white glue. And honestly, it's probably some sort of PVA glue, some sort of, white glue. But this has a slower drying time. So all I'm going to do is grab some of the glue on the paintbrush, and you guessed it, I'm going to brush this on here. Now the trick is you want a really thin layer of this. You don't want to build it up. Like, I'm going to be real careful and try not to, get any pools of it, because that'll just, what will happen is when you go to stick the gold on there, and then, you know, work with it after, the gold will just pull up where the glue is pooled, where it's still wet. So you want to try to spread this out as much as possible. It doesn't take much. It literally takes just a skin of glue. So, you know, it's not like you have to have a lot on there for it to work. In fact, this stuff, if you have wet paint on here, like if I just painted the tentacle and then I tried to do this, the gold would stick to the paint as well. And it won't come off. You know, you'd have to repaint over it. So you want to be real careful. You definitely want to make sure that, you know, if you're going up against the painted surface, that is 100% dry. In fact, I won't even gold leaf. Like when I do the gold leaf on the 543s, I won't do the painting on those until the next day. Normally I'll do the whole 543 in one shot. But if I'm doing gold leaf, I'll do the sizing first, get the gold on there, and then I'll just leave it overnight. You know, or vice versa. If I do the paint first, I'll just leave it overnight so that paint has full time to dry. Since I'm thinking about this stuff too, you know, as far as order of painting, like I said, I like to get this on at the very last step because it isn't cleared over. You cannot do anything on top of this. You can't, I mean, like for instance, taping or masking, you can't, it'll pull the gold right off. So you don't want to do any of that. You can, however, paint on it. Now, gold leaf, especially real gold leaf like this, the way it's supposed to be is there's supposed to be no clear on it. It looks the best when there's no clear coat on it. Now, obviously, if you put a clear coat on it, it's going to last longer and it's going to be more durable. However, it's going to dull it as well a little bit. So that's the trade-off. If you need a more durable, or if you want to paint on it, like when I do the 543s, I usually put UVLS on the gold leaf, and that way it makes it much easier to paint on. Painting directly on gold leaf, you can do it, but it's like, the way I describe it, it's like walking on ice. You know, the paint just skids all over it. It's like painting on glass, you know, so it's very difficult to paint on. There we go. So that's good. So with this stuff, you want to wait till, I don't know if you can pick it up. Is that in focus? Did I do that all out of focus? I kind of did, didn't I? But you get the idea. This area here is already kind of setting up. This area still needs to set up. It's kind of milky colored. With this stuff, you want to make sure that it's clear, you know, that all that white milky color is gone. I'm going to do this little block back here too. Yeah, I should move the tablet over so I can see if there's any questions. If you do have any, just let me know. Like I said, you know, anywhere, like I got a spot of glue on the stand down here, the glue will stick to the gold will stick to that. You can like clean it up, and I'll show you how I do that after. But you know, it's better obviously if you know you get the glue where you want it to go. There we go. All right, now the fun part. Now we let it just dry. Now this will stay open. I'm still not sure about the openness of this. And what happens is with the solvent-based stuff, like there's quick size and slow size. Slow size in the solvent-based version, that glue will stay on the surface and stay tacky for more than a day. It gives you plenty of time to work. Even the slow sizing, it's open for over an hour. You know, usually I think it's ready to go in about 30 minutes. But you know, if you're doing a big area, you can size a pretty decent amount of it and not have it dry up. What happens is if it gets too dry, then it isn't sticky anymore and the gold won't stick to it, which is okay because then you just put more sizing on it and keep going. But you know, you like to just do it in one shot. So this stuff here, though, the water-based stuff is ready to go much faster, which is another reason why I decided to use it tonight instead of the solvent-based stuff, because we would have to do something in between while we're waiting for it to go. The other time I did this live, I sized it beforehand, like an hour before, so that when we're ready to go, it's, you know, ready to go. So I'm going to take this couple minutes while I'm waiting for that to set up to move the tablet so I can hang out with you guys. I can read your comments. There we go. Will Elmer's glue work with gold leaf? Yeah, I would just trust the quality of Elmer's glue. Any glue will work, but it's also the dry time, Michael. So Elmer's glue will dry really quick, especially if it's really, really thin. And what I think you'll run into the problem with something like Elmer's glue, or even like a PVA glue, like wood glue or something, it'll dry too fast. So you'll spend all your time getting this stuff on really thin, and then by the time you're done, where you started was completely dry. So that's why I would probably just get some gold sizing instead of messing around. Michael Stevenson, what's up? What's happening? 20 minutes of showtime. This is actually where I wanted to be at this. Thanks, Brian. I'm super happy. I'm not sure that. At first, I was going to remove his little rivets on his forehead, but I think I'm going to leave them now. I did a little bit of rust staining on them, and I kind of like them, so I think I'll leave him. But yeah, he's I'm really super happy with him so far. Again, the respirator, the rubber part of the respirator in the middle is going to be bright orange, but then kind of, roughed up a little bit because it's underwater. The cartridges are going to be gray and white like a normal thing. The strap is going to be more leather. So I'm pretty much got it worked out now. All right, so I think we're pretty much ready. He does look like Bane was having, yeah. Bane on a swimming trip. What else was I going to say? Oh, the other cool trick that you should do that I didn't do is like when you start to gold leaf, this is just about ready now. It's pretty easy with this stuff because it's only about 5 to 10 minutes before it's ready. But on the solvent base where I'm not always sure, what I'll do is I'll take a piece of tape, and at the same time I'm leafing, as sizing the object, I'll put a couple swipes on this tape on the side. That way what I can do is I can actually touch the sizing to see if it's ready to go. What you want is you want the sizing to be like tacky. You don't want it to be stringy, or you don't want to leave a fingerprint in it. You especially don't want to leave a fingerprint in it because that'll show, but which is also why I do this on a separate piece. But putting it on a piece of tape is a really good trick because then you can touch it and mess with it, and if you screw it up, it's not going to matter. But this one, I'm pretty sure how it works. Yeah, so there we go. Hopefully, Grumpy, you saw that. Yeah, the mask is going to be orange. Cartridges are going to be white and gray, but they're going to be like used up too, kind of messed up as well. The only thing I'm not sure about is the you can barely see it on the top of the screen though, but the strap that goes around the back of his head, I'm not sure what color I'm going to do. I kind of like it black. Only because I don't want it to compete with anything because there's already so much going on with this. The other thing I'm also going to do too is I'll spin this a little bit. So I'm going to put a lot more detail in these suckers as well. So they're going to look a lot different. They're going to have some highlights in them and all kinds of stuff. Again, once I found out that, we were going to do this for real and have a cool giveaway, yeah, I'm going to go nuts on it. I'm just going to keep working on it. Make sure this is focused. We're going to get the gold on this before. We have to get the gold on this before the giveaway. So that's got to happen because if not, then this will dry and I'll have to redo it. But that's ready now. So what we're going to do is take some gold. I'll take this kind of blown up piece. Again, what happened to this piece is it got wet somehow. You can see the staining on it. But this stuff over here is still good. So that's what we're going to use. This stuff, I'll never get this side off. It'll just, it's just essentially glued on there. So what you want to do is you want to take a brush. Where's my bigger brush? Again, this is where the soft brush comes in. I had a bigger one that I was using earlier. Now I can't find it. Shocker. So we'll use my regular one. All right. So you need a soft brush, and essentially what gold leaf appliers, gold leafers call the brush that they use to pick this up, they call it a tip. I don't know why, they just call it a tip. And a gold leaf tip for real looks like a really wide brush with a really short flat handle on it. And what it does is it allows them to pick up the gold off the page. And hopefully, yeah, this will work. So there you go. So you can see the gold kind of peeling off like that. And then what you can do is you just got to get, you see how thin this is? It's like I said, it's thinner, easily thinner than like a human hair. Let me drop the exposure down again because you guys will not be able to see this. No, wrong way. There we go. And I'll focus this on the leaf just so you can get a feel for how thin this is. So there you go. So this is super crazy thin. Like static has a great ability to grab this, and that's what's doing it with this brush. And again, that's what happens with the tip. Now, you can't do this with the fan on because that little piece of gold, I'm going to try to, oh, I'm so multitasking right now. There we go. So I've got the little bit of gold, and what I want to do is I want to just kind of pick a spot, and I just want to kind of lay it down on there. You only get one shot at this. Where it goes is where it goes. So you can see now why having patent gold is really nice for signs, because you know if that gold is stuck to the sheet like that, it really lets you kind of control where you're going to kind of yeah, there you go. Thank you, Patrick. So yes, this brush already has enough going on with it, but yeah, static electricity is actually your friend. It is warm in here right now, but I can't turn the fan on for obvious reasons. So all I'm going to do is just kind of like reach over here, take off a piece, and put it where it needs to be. Fun, right? Let me lower the exposure a little bit now since we are in the pipeline. You don't have to worry about the finish on that. We're going to take care of that after. You also don't have to worry about, I mean, obviously you don't want to go over an area you already went over. I'm aiming for the you know, the dark areas where the paint is. But again, this is like, it can be super finicky. So like if I'm talking right now and I breathe on this, the gold is going to come off the brush and go wherever it wants to go. You also, what I'm doing is you don't want to do. Once it's on there, you want to leave it alone. You want to make sure it's adhered to the, you know, stuck to the gold, but you don't want to play with it because the sizing underneath is still wet and it's easy to pull the gold off while it's still wet. What's easier, like if you're doing a gold frame, like a picture frame, you would take this whole sheet and size a big area and then take this whole sheet and just lay it down on the frame and you pull it off and the gold is, you know, completely covered the area. It's a lot, it's a lot of fun. Now, 23 karat patent and 23 karat loose leaf is pounded really, really thin. You guys saw that. This imitation leaf though that I showed you first, you could pick that up with your fingers. That's a lot thicker. So it's a lot easier to work with too, which is why it's nice to kind of start with something like that. The pressure's a lot lower, you know, you don't have to worry about wasting a ton of money. I think a book of gold leaf is probably, I don't even know what it is now. A book, which is I think 25 sheets, is probably at least $100, but I might be totally off on that. So again, with this small brush, I can kind of get in the little holidays, you know, little areas that the gold didn't cover with a little, you know, with other little pieces, which is nice. You'll also notice when you start getting into it, or maybe, you know, you notice this on old gold leaf items, but oftentimes the item is painted like a maroon or a red first. And that's done for two reasons. One, the red, you know, you can't really see through the gold, but some people feel that it gives it kind of a, you know, a different color. When you have the red underneath, the gold has a different cast to it. I don't so much buy that as the other reason that they do it, and that's because if you miss a spot, it's really easy to see where the red is poking through. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. Which is why gold sizing or the paint underneath is never gold colored. You would think gold colored would make a lot of sense because, you know, if you miss a spot and it's painted gold underneath, you won't see it, but we want it to be right, right? You're good as long as you don't have the fan blowing on you. Yeah, because I've done that too. Start leafing, have it all ready to go, and the fans. Actually, the fan was running earlier. I'm starting to get close to the wet part, which isn't going to want to come off, but it's working. And again, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do this with an aggressive like a oil painter's brush. If you use anything, this Winsor Newton is a watercolor brush, so it's got a sable bristles on it, and those bristles are super soft. If you use something crazy like an oil painter's brush, you're just going to damage the leaf. You'll just scrape it off essentially. $81. I was close. Thanks, Pat. So yeah, again, if you get into gold leaf, I would strongly suggest just getting the patent leaf and not the loose. Because like I said, I mean, loose gold leaf is like I said, if I breathing on this, it would just float off the carrier sheet, which is bad freaking news. How far did I get up front? I'm not overly worried about, holidays in this because they kind of add to the effect, but I'm going to try to hit everything. Plus, I'm also not 100% sure I actually got sizing on everything, which is not great. But again, because it's really fun to try to like hit a spot, like if I miss one area, to try to go in, like this area doesn't seem to have sizing on it right here. So I'm gonna have to resize that area, and that's no fun, especially in here too. That's no fun either. All right, so I'm getting pretty close now. I got one little area to do down to the bottom here, and then I can move on to the next step. Whoa. And if you drop a piece, you try to pick it up, because again, $81 for 25 sheets. I'm definitely getting close to the wet area on this, so I'm not going to be able to get too much more out of this sheet. Now this gold, where it got wet, how it's dull right here, you can see how shiny it is right here. I know it's out of focus, but this gold is trashed. If I could use it, but it's going to be dull if I put it down on something, no matter what I do with it. So so that that goes in the trash, unfortunately. I don't know how it got wet, but it did. I didn't lose a lot. Like, it would be terrible if the whole book was like that. It was just this one sheet, and I don't know why. Trying to get this off here. Yeah, I'm getting real close to the wet edge of that. So I think that's all I'm going to be able to get out of this one. All right, so I do need to hit that spot, but we're not going to do that yet. So the next step is to kind of make sure you get stuff everywhere. So I'm going to use a little bit bigger brush for this. Again, this is a watercolor brush. And then what I want to do is I want to kind of really lightly kind of go over this thing, really lightly. Again, because the sizing underneath is still wet. So I just want to lightly kind of make sure I've got the gold in all the little nooks and crannies. And, I'll use the other brush to get in really the tight spots, but this does a good job overall. You don't want to, there is a way to polish this stuff like afterwards, once it's totally dry. You don't want to get into doing that now, again, because the sizing is still wet and it's too easy to, if you start digging into this thing, to pull it off, to scar it, and I don't want that. But you can see how quick it comes together. That wrinkly, weird pattern that was on there before really kind of disappears as you kind of push the gold, and smooth that out on the surface. And like I said, the paint is good now, like the chrome and the gold paint, but it is nothing like the real thing. I mean, that looks like little gold nuggets there now, which is a lot of fun. Clear with 40/50 and do a tiny gold piece on it. What? A lot of sign painters and pinstripers add a tint to their sizing so they can see it. Yeah, exactly, Chris. That's it. So the sizing, you can add the appropriate stuff to it. For instance, like the solvent-based stuff, you can add a little bit of enamel paint to it or a little bit of solvent-based paint. And that does exactly what Chris said. So this sizing is clear. What's nice about this for what I'm doing here, you could see how shiny it was. It was easy for me to see where I missed or, you know, where I didn't get or where I ended off. But yeah, if you're working on an object where you have a difficult time seeing that, you can add a little bit of tint to the sizing as well. All right, so now I want to see if I can get the rest of the little gold bits off the rest of it and hope that it didn't stick anywhere where it shouldn't, and it really didn't. So I'm happy with that. Viole. We have leafed. And I bet it's time. Wicked Pissa Kid. Oh yeah, Wicked Pissa. What else? Again, you know, if I put a clear on that, it's going to look dull. So, you know, you don't want to clear over gold leaf, which is why it's usually the last step to do, which is going to be fun for me to paint this strap on here right up against the gold. But yeah, worst case scenario, if I get paint down on the gold, I can repair the gold. And since we got a couple seconds, I'll show you how to do that. This would have been easier for me instead of making mine look like slate rock. No, I love that everyone has like a different take on it. That makes me happy. So the little strip I missed here, this little vein right here, I can fix that. Oh, I still got some out. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, I was thinking about that. That'd be really crazy to get that look. So essentially, what I think I would do with that, if you were to go at it again, is, you know how I did the underpainting for the trees on that, you know, on the other painting we were working on last week, how it was really black. You do just the opposite with your coals. So I would paint all the coals like golden yellow, like this yellow. So paint all the rocks golden yellow, and then go back over like the rocks themselves, and then start with like a red around the cracks, and then on top of that I do a gray, and then like darker gray, and then the rock, you know, the rock faces essentially would be the rock color or the charcoal color. That way all the cracks would be all like this golden, like glowing yellow. And that way you can control, like everything will be yellow. So as you're painting in the rocks, you can control how much of the cracks show. That would be much easier than trying to get the yellow in those cracks. You know what I mean? Plus you can, you know, the yellow isn't going to want to stand on a dark color. So you could actually paint the rocks white first, and then you do them yellow. So now that yellow is brilliant, you know. I think that's the way to attack that. Yeah, that would be amazing, Patrick, but I don't think I got that in me. Yes, that would be crazy good. Which is usually, I mean, that's a good way to do it. If you clear something and then polish it and then go leaf it, like it's smooth like glass, that's how they get that mirrored look on the letters on windows and stuff. They don't clear it on the windows, but the fact that the window glass is so flat and smooth, the gold will look like mirrored. It's crazy. Yeah, try it, Brian. Yeah, if you can find a 3D printed set of rocks to practice on. Oh, you could practice on the thing too, I guess. All right. Is that enough time? I'd be impatient. How much time do we have? What time is it? Where's Honey? All right, we got 1 minute. Do I want to be an impatient cow? And yeah, we're sticking gold to that. Screw it. What could go wrong? Again, what could go wrong is that the sizing is too wet. The gold gets pooled up in there, and then it'll be a different sheen. It'll actually be dull. So if you gold leaf over wet sizing, the gold won't be brilliant like it is here. It'll just be dull, you know? So that's why you don't want to go and be an impatient cow like me. but it's in a little crack between two little nuggets. So I'm okay with that. It's showtime. It's showtime. And it only took me a minute. So we're going to leave that. Let that set up. But I'm happy. I'm super happy with that. Get it? So that's gold leaf. After the feed, after the giveaway, we can keep gold leafing if you want, or I can work on a different part of this, or I do have a completely different painting that I started that I need to get done. So we have options. But let me switch out to this so you can get a full effect. But now you can see the gold just pops off of that thing. And yes, details coming soon. So we're going to do a giveaway with Spraygunner. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love the gold. That was a fine choice. And it's showtime. It's showtime. Honey says it's showtime. So let's give away a painting. Oh, yeah, that's right too. I was going to say, we got the Fraser painting too. So if you win tonight and want the Fraser painting, you can be first in on that before I put it up on the site. All right. First up, Scott McKay with, no, since it's last in, first up, that is the Fraser painting, from his skull templates. We did that back in 22. Like I said, I think I painted this on Facebook Live. Yeah, pretty sure I did that live. So I don't know who suggested that. I think that was just a cool idea for a feed. Next one is Mr. McKay. Mr. McKay, he didn't even ask for it. He just said, Steve. So I took the reins on that and did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. That is, of course, Steve, and I can't remember the dude's name. I can't remember his name. The mustache dude. So anyway, that's Steve. Next is, where's my sheet? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, Ron Basil. Ron asked for a Civil War cannon firing. So that's what I came out with that. And that one's just called Antietam. Still the nastiest casualty to war on U.S. soil with 22,000. That's Antietam. Actually, almost 23,000, 27 altogether. 22.7. And finally, Bug asked for a clove of garlic. How could I say no? There you go. Clove of garlic. Be cool if I could figure out how to do scratch and sniff. I'd make that one smell like garlic too. But I don't know how to do that. I should have looked it up. Oh well. All right, let me get my random thing up and running. Although I should have just grabbed a 4-sided die. Because we got number 4 on here. Oh, I'll show you the list again in case you want to keep track of who's who. Again, you don't have to be present to win, but yeah, just check in. If you, well, I guess if you're not here, you aren't listening to me. So there you go. Number 1 is London Penn, Brian Moore, Bill Snagan, Todd Grigsby, Tim Lockwood. Yes, thank you, Chris. I was gonna say Tim Lockwood. All right. I need what? I need this one. 4. Keyed up. Number 1. Number 1 is Mr. International, Mr. London Pen Company, who is not in London, UK. He is in London, Ontario. Sean, if you're here, you win, buddy. What happens when everyone is won? That's a good question. It's never happened yet. So we will burn that bridge when we get to it. That's an excellent question. I don't even know. So that'll be fun if we ever get there. So congratulations, Sean. If you know what there he is. I never win. Well, congratulations. Today's your day. Bobby Silva, I missed you getting on, buddy. How's it going? So Sean, if you want one of these 4, let me know before the end of the feed. I will keep it off the site, but if you want something else on the website, you can do that. Also, you know, as always with winners, if you want to use your win as a credit towards something else, you could certainly do that. Either, you know, prints or originals. And again, you can definitely use that on, you know, the Razor Blade or the Chevelle too, even though they're on drastic discount. For you guys, I will do the extra discount because you guys are awesome like that. All right, let me open this so I can show you the difference between imitation and actual gold. Like I said, this stuff, go with this first. Again, you know, $80 for 25 sheets as opposed to, you know, $10 for 25 sheets. Plus, this stuff is a lot easier to work with. Why am I even opening this? I don't have to do this. Because, do I? No, I don't. So I will have to open this. All right, fine. Be that way. This is very well packaged for Hobby Lobby. Well done, Hobby Lobby. All right. So this is, well, this top sheet got damaged, but you'll get the idea. Yeah, this top sheet's damaged anyway, but if you look at it compared to the other stuff, it's a lot thicker. Like I can actually like grab this. I mean, it's super thin, don't get me wrong. But if a piece falls like that, I can grab it with my fingers and pick it up and manipulate it and move it around and stuff. This stuff here, like the actual stuff, if I, like I'll pull this piece off because it's on the edge. But if I grab that with my fingers, it becomes part of my finger. It's so thin, it just like adheres to it. So, you know, if there's any oil on my fingers, then it's toast. It's totally on there. Like I'm gonna rip this trying to take it off. But yeah, it's super, super crazy thin. So yeah, so that's the biggest difference other than the fact that, you know, again, the gold leaf is actually gold and this is, you know, another metal. But again, for messing around with, this stuff is awesome. And it'll give you a similar look. You know, it's tough to get this to look like paint or paint to look like this. Even if you're using imitation gold, it still has that really bright metallic look where you can't always get that with paint. And again, the paint is good, but the paint is still little miniature like specks of metallic color or metallic, you know, pigment, I guess. So those little pigments have to arrange themselves next to one another to give you that sheen. This is already arranged next to one another. It's ready to go. So it still has a place even as the paint gets better and better. Now, that being said, if you look at the top of this thing again, get you closer so you can see. That's silver, even though I hit it with clear. If you look at that, that still looks really metallic, like brushed metal. That's paint. So it's really good. Like if I leafed that and then cleared over it, it would probably look the same. You know, if I used like aluminum leaf instead of paint. So, you know, choose your, you know, method wisely, I guess. All right. So here we are. We're at the moment now. What do you guys want to do? Let me take a quick, can I do this in here? Oh, dudes and dudettes, hold that thought. I may be able to do this for real. Can I do this? Where can I do this? What is this? I can. Hold on. All right. Can I change that? I can. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Okay. This is neat. Never done this before. And go. All right, so now you'll see a fancy pole that just went up. So you guys get to tell me what to do. So we'll either keep leafing this thing. There's plenty to do. Or we can do a little bit on that other painting. The other painting, I'll show it to you while you guys are trying to decide. So the other painting is a seascape. And the reason why I thought it would be fun to do this guy, I've already got it based off, blocked off pretty much. But I can show you some of the water. And the water uses the same electric eraser technique, just in a different way as the trees. So yeah, we can mess around with the water there. I do have a bunch of trees to do in this, but it would be exactly the same as what we did last week. So I don't want to do that. This is all rocks in the front, but I'm not ready to do that yet. I got to put the water in first. But this here is pretty much, this would be the normal way I would do a painting like this. So you notice the sky and the area way in the background, they're already done. And that's how I usually work. So I'll start back to front. So I started with the sky, then I put these, distant, hills in with the trees on them. And now this is the middle ground here. So I have that blocked off. That's based the original color. This one down here is actually based in black. But the way it works is now the water is behind this group of rocks. So technically the water is next, because I don't want to, paint in a bunch of stuff and then have to repaint it later. So I'll do all the water and then I'll just throw in the rocks in the front, and it'll be the last thing to do. So I will leave that up to you while I put this sheet of gold away, because I don't want to have it get whacked anymore than it already is. But I'll put this here for now somehow. That goes over there with that. I do like the way that's on plastic, though. That's kind of neat. It's got tissue in between, but the imitation gold has this thin plastic between instead of tissue everywhere. So I'm going to drink my beverage while you guys decide. Is the poll working? I don't even know. Are we really at 50% for both? What are you guys doing? I love you guys. Good night, honey. You're the best. Ryan Joe Baggy, what's up, buddy? Just saw you were here. I'll take the firefly painting from the site. All right, if it isn't there, I will let you know. The only reason I hesitate is because I've had a rash of me being dumb. And when people win paintings, I don't take them off the site. I can't remember seeing that one, but I hope it's there. If it isn't, Sean, well, I'll work something out. It's 50-50. You guys are amazing. Give that a few minutes, see if someone could break the tie. All right, there we go. Someone voted for gold leaf, so could we do a little bit of both? Could we do a little bit of both? Sean, what's up? I didn't see you jump on. The other Sean. Toby Foss, what's up? Yeah, they do, and that's part of the monetization thing. And I'm trying to figure out, there's a way that, and I don't know if I set it up or if they set it up, but there's a way that the ads don't interrupt the feed. They'll actually be side by side with the feed, like they do with football games now. It is the one drawback to YouTube as opposed to Facebook. Facebook doesn't do ads like that. But everything else is better on YouTube. So the quality is better, the stability is better, the way they put it out there is better. So it's the lesser of two evils. All I can say is, I found out a long time ago, as I was watching a lot more YouTube, that it was worth it for me to just do the subscription. If you do the sub for YouTube, then you don't have any ads. And you get access to all kinds of cool movies too. So not that I'm trying to push, getting sub or getting whatever, non-membership, but signing up for YouTube Premium. But it is one of the ones that it's one of the ones that I actually like paying for because it's worth it. All right, so it's still pretty even. Someone voted for Leaf, so that brought it to 53 to 47. So can I do both? I'm going to end the poll because you guys have spoken. That's funny. But actually, that'd be fun. We'll be able to use that pole more often now. Let's do a little bit of both. So what I'll do is I will size the front of this thing, let it dry, and then I'll do a little bit of waves, a little bit of wave action. Let me see. I'm going to get this so you can see it. Yeah, we'll go leave the front of this thing. I really shouldn't do this because I do have to paint the whole thing, but oh well, it's what you do. Put that there. Get a little bit of focus going on that. Now we can switch that here. Go leaf. Oh yeah, we'll do a little bit of both. Yeah, exactly, Chris. And that was the big thing. That was, and you know what it really boiled down to at the end with Facebook, and you guys all know this if you've been around. When Facebook announced that they were going to start deleting the live feeds after 90 days, then I was out. Because what's the point? You know, I mean, in YouTube, you can literally go, you'll be able to go back forever, you know. You can do that now. You know, you can watch videos from when I first started, you know, when I started redoing stuff for this channel back in 2020, you know, so there's terrible old videos that you can watch. They never get rid of them, which is what I love. All right, so we are going to do both. We're going to do both because we're going to multitask, and what's more fun than that? Can I do this? Yes, I can. Not that you need to see this, but I could turn on the palette cam. Cam palette. Then I gotta move that over here. There we go. And then I'll put, since I won't need that really. Put this over here. There's my palette. All right. Yeah, let's just do this front section, and then we'll do a little bit of the waves so you can get a feel for what's going to happen with that. So again, you know, the gold sizing is specific. I know it looks, and this stuff even smells like PVA glue. You know, any kind of white glue, it has that same smell to it. But like we were just talking about with Michael, the regular, they've got some sort of slowing agent in this to make it not, you know, just lock up immediately. So that's what you want. Again, you know, regular PVA glue, any kind of white glue, you'd glue this on or paint this on, and as soon as you get it on there, it'll be dry, and you know, you won't be able to put any gold on there because it just has nothing to stick to. So I think that's why you want to avoid that stuff. I mean, in a pinch, could you? I'm sure you guys could be pretty ingenuous. Ingenuous? No, that's not the word. Ingenious. So, you know, you could do a small, very small section and, you know, hammer it on there and kind of get it done before it loses its tack. But that's going to be a long night. Because, again, I just did this, you know, the whole front section here. But you couldn't do that. Like, again, PVA glue, regular white glue would just get real solid real quick. You can't see it off the side, but what I'm doing is with the brush, I'm just cleaning it out with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, getting all that sizing out, and then rinsing it out with water. I'll probably rinse just out with water, but I'm not taking that chance. Not with those brushes, even the used ones. Jeff Simon, what's up, brother? What's going on? Vegas Brush Fest. Good for you, Chris, going around everywhere. Chris, how was I know I missed all the pictures. How was Syracuse? Was it good? It's on the same weekend as our big family reunion, so I never get to go. Plus this you know, this year I was dealing with all that weird foot stuff. All right, that's setting up. It's, you can see the white on the side of it, so I can't do anything until that dries. So let's start messing with this. I don't know how much I can get done with this. This here is like a whole feed, but We'll try. See what we can come up with. Give me a workout with my focusing abilities today. I'm going to try to leave the camera where it is, though, because that's a pain in the butt. Let's try to do over here. Stop that. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, Michael. I think it would just dry way too quick. As far as how it would adhere, most glues like that, especially wood glue, is really, really strong. So I wouldn't worry about, the gold coming off or anything like that. I would just worry about your ability to get it done. All right, what I need is my photograph. So while I'm looking for that, there we go. Is that it? That'll work. I have one of my stencil cutouts here, but that's what the water looks like. So this this area that this photo is from, it can be a really rough area. It's rocky coast kind of thing. So this has a lot of action going on here, which is fun. So this is what we're going to kind of get going on this. So the way I deal with this is exactly like I do kind of with the trees. There's darker areas of it, and then there's highlights that are really standing on top. So that's what you got to kind of think about. Where the waves are darker, it's because they're it's underneath. You know what I mean? And then where it's lighter, obviously it's up on top. So you get that kind of back and forth there. So the way I usually do it, there's a couple of ways. And I'm going to move this because I need this. I do this with a brush and with the airbrush again. It's usually a mix of both. God, these brushes are getting a workout too today. I love it. So this is New England. This is the Atlantic Ocean. So with the Atlantic Ocean, it's kind of a cool steel blue. So I'll use this is blue violet up here at the top. So I'm just adding a little bit of black to it and then a little bit of white. So what I want is like a kind of a steel blue color. So I'm going to do a small section. I don't know how I got a coffee stain on this. Actually, I do know how I got a coffee stain on this. I just probably got coffee on it. Yeah, man, I would love to go to Syracuse. That would be amazing. Is this gray enough? Probably. All right, so yeah, this will work. So what I'm doing is basically just start getting the darker areas of those waves in. You don't have to be super careful about this. Actually, I take that back. You do kind of be careful with this. There's a lot to think about. Waves are subject to perspective just like everything else. So the waves that are closer to you are going to be bigger than the waves that are far away. It's really important to keep that in mind. It's something real subtle that I could do all the waves just like I did right here over the whole thing. The painting would be okay, but you'd definitely be like, something's wrong with this thing. You may not even be able to put your finger on it, but you'd know something was up with it. So perspective has a lot to do with it. As things get farther away, they get smaller, and they also get washed out essentially. So I start with just like an area, and just start kind of getting these little wave shapes in. Now it's really easy with these things to like get into a groove and then just keep doing the same shape over and over again. So I like to keep that reference photo, which is now off the screen. It's up here, but I like to keep that kind of nearby, and I'll try to do that so you can see a little bit of it. So that way I can always like kind of glance up, and it'll help me to kind of keep different shapes going without being locked into the same thing. This paint is fairly thin, so it's actually leaving a little bit of a dot at the end. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen a lot, because then it looks like a bunch of fish swimming sideways, which we don't want. And I'm not worried about the highlights. I'm not worried about the real dark areas. This is just kind of like the base coat. You know what I mean? This helps me set where everything is going to kind of be. This helps me set up that perspective first so that I know it's going to be kind of right. Any of the other things, like I said, there's these little dumbbell things at the end, they'll all get taken care of as I airbrush and paintbrush over it. I've done this before with you guys, like on the Plymouth painting, and I always regret it. The reason why is because if I finish a section completely, like this little quarter shaped section first, and then do the rest of it around it, it's so hard to blend into that part that's already done. But you guys are worth it. I just got to remember the, the method that, the colors that I used and how I got there. So again, you do have to be kind of careful, but also this is really the underpainting for this. This, a lot's going to go on top of this, so it's not, you don't have to stress about it, I guess. You don't have to be like, oh my gosh, that's not exactly the way it is. You can change a lot of it as you're going along. So that's what makes this really kind of nice, You don't have to stress out about it, really. You can just have some fun putting in happy little waves. But again, keep checking your reference and make sure you're kind of doing the same thing, One quick note too about how I set this up. You notice that this is really light blue up here, and I said it's going to be black. The only reason I put this in is because I don't want to do waves where I don't have to do waves. So there are waves above here, there are waves below here, but I don't want to do waves all in here and then cover it. It's just a waste of time. So I just kind of gave myself a little halo of where that's supposed to be. Oh my gosh, Michael, the Corvette painting is still sitting there. Michael, yeah, good. Elmer's might peel off, but I don't know. I don't know if it's, I'd be more worried about the stuff, not sticking in the first place, All right, so now we're ready to go on this guy. So we are truly multitasking today. I never work like this. Like I would just spend the day working on the holder. I wouldn't be jumping around like this. That's crazy talk. All right, let's see what I got for other sheets of gold, because that one is not going to work. The other one I had, because, well, there's a little bit left on it, maybe. Yeah, a little bit left. No wasty. Where's my dry brush? This is my dry brush. So this piece right here is good because it's the one we were playing with earlier. That's going to work. So again, if you do it right like that, stick to the brush just right, and then you can just gently kind of push it down. So that right there was probably about as good as application as you can get. Everything worked out well with that. It doesn't always work that way. Like I said, the slightest of breezes or a little bit extra static, and it'll, the gold will go where the gold is going to go. And you don't have much choice with that. Gerald Mendez, what is up? Gerald just had his very cool video with Spraygunner. So you guys got to go check that out. Yeah, so this, I still got a little bit of usable gold on this section right here. So I'm going to waste not and want not. These pieces are going to get more cranky to get off. Like they're really stuck to the carrier paper. Yeah, because that's all garbagey right there. Let's switch to another sheet just because you don't want to watch me wrestle with that. See what I got. And of course, you have sheets like this. I'll jump out to this. So I've used this for something else, and I've got almost all the gold off it. But obviously you never throw this stuff away because you can use the small pieces for other stuff. So I always save it until it's absolutely positively gone. Did this get wet too? Yeah, this got wet too. It's got that weird stain on it, so I'm not being able to get anything off of that either. All right, let me find a non-icky piece. Even if it's small bits. Yeah, this is a good one. So that's a little bit right there, but this is not stuck like hell. Yeah, even like humidity will affect this stuff. So, that's probably not helping me right now. If it's really humid, the leaf isn't going to want to come off. And the other way to do this, let me see if I can show this to you this way too. So the way that you do this with patent normally is you would have, your sheet of it with the gold on it. And then what you can do is you just literally just touch it onto the surface you want it to go on, and then it sticks right where you want it to. So again, this method here is a lot more difficult with a 3D object like this. It's super hard to get this to, you know, go where you want it to go. It's easier for me to pick it off, but that's normally the way patent gold is designed to work. You just kind of, you know, stick it on where you want it. Yeah, Chris, thanks. Again, you know, I shouldn't have probably let off with the damaged sheet. That was probably not a great idea, but oh yeah, Jeff, I'm actually doing that on my pant leg. But some of those sheets were damaged. They got wet, and the glue is now attached. The gold is now permanently attached to them. This here is not, though, so we'll be in good shape with this. Yeah, so it's the same deal like Jeff was just saying. You know, it's like when you rub a balloon on the top of your head and you get that static charge and the balloon will stick to stuff. Same deal. Yeah, 3D objects are always fun with leaf and stuff, so. But that's what makes it fun, right? I am missing my bigger brush. I thought I was using it earlier, and it worked so much better. I could go grab my bigger brush too. So this whole thing is, I mean, it seems tedious, but for me it's really relaxing. I don't know, it's one of those things, you know. But I could see, you know, it's not for everyone. Oh, that's a good one right there. Da, 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 da. Sean, awesome, buddy. Do me a favor, Sean. Can you send me a message with the address you want that shipped to, and I will get the Firefly out to you. Thanks. That would be amazing. All right, that's going to be good. All right, so I missed the spot there, but I'll get that after too, because nothing's sticking to that. Okay, cool. We'll put that aside. We'll let that dry a little bit, do some more waves, and then we'll come back and give that a little polish and clean it up, and it's going to be good. Gary, what is up, buddy? Ha, love it. I wasn't sure if the gold was going to be like over the top, but it is. Ha. All right, let's jump back to this. So again, let's be focused on this. Good. All right. Get your little guy above this. So there's a couple things you can do along the way, and I'll try to show you a little bit of everything depending on how it goes. Oh, Ian, thanks for hanging in there. Yeah, have a great night. Because I didn't mention this, but the light blue here you see isn't just paint. It's Autoborn Sealer blue and a lot of Autoborn Sealer white. So it's mostly Autoborn Sealer here. So this blue is very tough, and it's got some dimension to it too, thickness to it too. So as a base for underneath, I can go and manipulate whatever I put on this thing, either with kneaded eraser like this, or, you know, if I grab the X-Acto knife, I can scratch into this too. and manipulate it all that way. And the beauty is what I'm going to come down to is this light blue, not the white. I mean, yeah, if I dig down through the blue, you know, I'll get down to the clapboard, but you know, if I'm digging that far, then I got serious problems. So, so yeah, I don't want to do that. Down at the beach, that's awesome. You're in Maryland, good. Hopefully that misses what it needs to miss. You know, that's crazy. The other thing you can do too, if you're more in tune with you know, doing your airbrushing and stuff like that, let me mix up a color real quick. I'll do a little bit of yeah, I'll use this brush. So put some white in here. Is that still on? No. Turn that back on. So I got some white in the brush. I'm going to add same thing, not that yellow, but a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the black to get kind of a steel New England-y gray. This is actually a little bit too light, but this is going to work out really well. So you can go back into this thing, and this is going to be, let's see what this is going to be. Stop it. This is too light, and it's too gray. I don't want it to look dirty, so I'll add more blue to it. That's better. It's probably too much blue now, but add a little bit of black to that too. Not too much black. There we go. Yeah, that's one thing Ohio doesn't have is hurricanes. I'm used to this time of year being ready for them, you know, because I mean, even up in New England, we'll get the tail end of everything. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, this is good. So if you're, you know, if you are more into the airbrush type of thing, you can do the same thing with the airbrush. It has a softer look to it. What I end up doing is a little bit of everything. Again, you know, it's that in focus, out of focus thing. It's the soft edge against the hard edge that really help to make it look real. Because if you look at this, you see it just at the top here? I'll move this down a little bit more. But if you look at this, you know, there's not just like blue, light blue, and then dark blue waves. You know, there's like areas where it's, you know, soft. There's areas where there's shading. There's areas that are sharp. There's the highlights on there. So all these little techniques kind of go together. The important thing again is that perspective though. I like to start with the paintbrush because I can draw in all the perspective first. Like anything I'm doing now where I'm just kind of modifying what's there, I don't have to worry about the perspective because I've already done it. These waves down the bottom are just naturally bigger because I was paying attention to that. So this lets me just kind of go through the thing and, you know, add that softness where it needs to. This is also where I would like take out some of those little, you know, paintbrush dumbbells where the paint was too thick or, you know, ran and then made that little dot. I can kind of go over those a little bit and spread them out and get rid of them. Yeah, I'm still going. We had a poll and it was pretty much neck and neck. So we're doing both projects tonight. So there we go. So there's that. And then again, you know, you can go back in with the electric eraser. Electric eraser I'm still kind of messing with, like what the best way to kind of attack this is. My big problem with the electric eraser is it can look really mechanical if you have a weird touch with it. Like if you hold it in just the right way and it skips, you know, you could see that very even skipping, and I'm not a big fan of that. But for individual like dots and stuff, I'm really liking it. Okay. And then from there, it's the way I do it is I start with the middle values, and then I branch out from that. So you start in the middle value, and then you go darker and you go lighter. You know, you don't start with the darkest, you don't start with the lightest. and then it's a win. So darker areas, I'll show you that real quick. That's the one, yeah. So the blue violet, a little bit of black, again some white, because you know if I put that on there, it's going to be crazy. A little bit more. So now what I can do, and again, you know, like I always say, as I move out in value, either darker or lighter, you put less and less of that on there. So the darker areas are going to take up less, you know, they're not going to be in as many places as what I just did. They're just going to be kind of here and there. Even darker than that. Now I'm kind of looking at the reference again, just to kind of pick out those shadowed areas. And again, this is another opportunity to, since this paint is thicker than what I just put on, this gives me the opportunity to get rid of some of those little, you know, dots that shouldn't be there from the other application. There we go. And then, yeah, I should probably take a little bit more care, but you get the idea. We just want to get it done. And then finally is the lightest areas. So for this, I'm going to use that same kind of steel blue color, but I'm going to wash it way out with white. And then this again, as we get closer to the end of the rainbow. Sorry, I can't resist. As we get closer to the end, the white is going to be, there's going to be even less of that. This white is really wiped out because of the wet palette, but we'll see if we can get it to work without having to put a new dropout, and I'm not going to be able to. Son of a gun. Oh well. Hold on. Come on. I broke this bottle earlier too. I cracked it. We'll do this with pure white so you can see it, but it shouldn't be this crazy. Here we go. But to give you the idea. So now I did the darkest parts, or the darker parts. May still need more, but mess around with it. But I'll take just pure white so you can see it. And this is where those white caps would be. That's awful weak too. Why is that? Maybe because I didn't shake the bottle. Oh well, you get the idea. So anywhere the white caps are, that's terrible. Let's try that again. Jeebus. With some real white. Oh, there you go. Like it's supposed to work. All right, let's try that again. All right, so yeah, like that. When you shake the bottle like you're supposed to. So then you add the lighter colors. Now at this point, you know, basically the whole idea is in, but that doesn't mean it's done. So I do those white areas, and then they may need more. Like see right up here how this is really dark. So eventually I'll throw some of those in too, you know, and they'll help to continue to break it up. But basically that's the idea, and that's how I would get that whole thing done. But again, it works on a base coat. If I tried to do that just on a white panel, it would look like trash. You know, the fact is you're seeing most of the blue that's underneath. The other really good thing about doing it this way for the painting, the sky blue is I did the entire panel with that one color. Now you can't really tell that because I did a lot of stuff to the sky too. There's a lot of atmospheric perspective. This blue is a lot paler than the water, but the bottom line is when this is done, it's going to look like the sky is reflected in the ocean, and that's what you want, right? If I did the ocean in a totally different feel of blue, it would look like, you know, either something was spilled in the water or it just wasn't real. This is going to have that real steel blue color in the end, but it's going to reflect the sky as well. So it's kind of a bonus on both sides. So that's the way we do that. And let's end this with me cleaning up this guy, which is always the fun part. Do you concern yourself with blue shift and doing that? No, the reason why, that's a great question, Chris. The reason why I don't worry about blue shift with that is because the water is blue. So there is blue shift going on there, but it's very minor because you have a blue background. It's, if it was a warm background, then yeah, it would look like trash. So so yeah, that's a great question though. But yeah, for that I wouldn't. Where you do see blue shift, you don't see it so much as like what just happened. Like I didn't shake that bottle, but that's what you get. You know, you get this kind of dulling of the white. It's really what's happening is you get that blue shift and it looks more like the blue around it. So you do get that a little bit, but not anywhere near anything you'd have to compensate for. You saw as soon as I shook up the bottle and had the correct, you know, the correct opacity for that, it was fine. All right, there we go. I almost lost it. So this is my little watercolor brush. Again, this is a red sable, or not red sable, just a sable brush. But I'll use this to kind of go in. Now this does two things. One, it knocks off the excess gold, but also what it does is I'm kind of brushing this around instead of just brushing it off. So what's happening is all this little gold dust here is also on the you know, the part I just did. So those little bits and pieces are kind of adhering to themselves, adhering to those little holidays, any holidays that I might have missed. And so you get a kind of a twofer. You clean it off and you also fill in any little gaps that you might have missed. Again, with water-based sizing, I'm sure that sizing is already dry, but it does seem to kind of work in the same way as solvent-based, which is nice. Solvent-based sizing would be open for a lot longer, so to do this trick is really, really easy. You know, you end up, it works really well for this. But this worked out really great. I'm going to back this out so you can see it. I'm also not going to brush off all this gold right over my other painting because we don't want gold speckles everywhere, even though there already are, but that's fine. That's the other thing too. Don't gold leaf where you don't want gold everywhere. Nice. Let me back you guys out. So that's what it's going to look like with all the gold nuggets under there. I'm super happy with the way that's going to look. So that's going to go in the back. I did size that back thing, but I never leafed it, so I'll have to resize that. But it goes all the way around. There's little bits of rocks all the way around, which is perfect. And then down under here too. So they'll be here and then here too. So yeah, it's going to look really good. Dude sitting on a pile of gold, protecting his booty. No, so JC, I'm not going to clear over the gold. I'm going to leave it. Whoever wins this, like I said, if I won this, I would just put my favorite airbrush in and just leave it on the shelf. But you know, whoever wins it can do whatever they want with it. Oops, I don't want to do that. So I'm assuming that someone's going to just kind of keep this as a piece of art and not use it. They certainly can, but it's not going to be rated for heavy duty use. I would get paint all over it if I used it, which I would be sad. So, you know, this particular instance, I would just, I'd put on the shelf, but that's what I would do. Yeah, Chris, sunken treasure. We don't want that in this one. So good point though. You know, like, all right, I did get gold on this, but Createx is wonderful because it dries so fast. So none of this is wet. So I could take the airbrush and those little bits of gold will just blow right off. Which is the other thing. You notice I didn't use the airbrush to blow the excess gold leaf off my little thing, because if I did that and any gold wasn't quite dry yet, it would immediately blast it off. So you never want to blow air across, you know, your gold leafing. You want to wait till it's fully cured, and then you want to use, like, there are different things. Some people use, I can jump to this one, even though the cameras are on the way. Some people use like a tack rag, a really old tack rag that's really soft. That will help get some of the excess gold off without, you know, and that's nice because the gold will stick to it as well. It won't go all over your shop or your studio. But I find it works really well when you have the brush and you just softly go over it. There are ways we would just, you know, they were mentioning, you know, being able to polish it. You can do that once it's fully cured too. That I won't have to do that too. But yeah, once it's fully cured, you can go over like a cotton, like a makeup pad, something like that. and you can almost polish the gold to make it shine like crazy shiny. So there's a lot you can do. It's a whole art in and of itself, but hopefully I gave you the basics to kind of get started with it and have some fun with it. And again, imitation leaf is about $8 for 20 sheets, 25 sheets, so you can go nuts with it and have some fun. You'll be gold leafing everything in your house. You can buy larger bottles of sizing than what I have too, so that's fun. All right, so Sean is all set. He won. He's not going to take any of the 4 from tonight, so I'll put those all up on the website. Don't forget, please don't forget. You guys are the only one who know the razor blade painting, the Shelby painting, is currently now 50% off on the front page of my site. I'd love it if it goes to one of you fine people first before I make an announcement. And then the Chevelle painting, which is the other open studio. This one is also 50%. This is a larger painting. So I think it's 4x6. But this is also, I did this on Open Studio as well. So both of these are on there. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure we did this one, the Chevelle. I'm thinking of the Oldsmobile, the blue Oldsmobile that I still need to finish. So that's it. All right, so that's what we got. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Time lapse tomorrow. You can see how I painted the cloudy with a chance of meatballs painting, and then Wednesday night is Open Studio with the Tokyo painting. So hope you join me for all that, and I'll be back next week. We're going to paint Ria's hummingbird next week, so join me for that. And that's what I got. So be good to one another, hang out. And I hope to see you guys soon. You guys are amazing. Love you. What button do I push now?